Uncharted is such a fun movie, really escapist, really fun, such a cool popcorn flick of a movie, and is so much stronger than Rotten Tomatoes is claiming it is. Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel Lifestyle Critic. I hope you're having a brilliant day. So in this video we are going to be reviewing Uncharted, which is based on the incredibly popular PlayStation video game series of the same name, and this movie has been long awaited and has finally been released, as it has been in development hell since 2008. Yes, that's right. They've been trying to make this movie for so long and we've finally got it. It is very inspired by the games, as it is trying to tell a bit of an origin storyline, but at the same time it does do its own thing as well, which is really cool. I mean, the action sequences are absolutely incredible. All of the nods to the games are really great as well, and they've also got some absolutely breathtaking, true global stunt sequences that look absolutely incredible. Like I said, such a fun escapist movie. Yes, for sure, it could have been a bit funnier. Yes, it could have been a bit slicker as well. But I think what they did with this movie in terms of telling an origin storyline of the popular Nathan Drake character based on the video game series, they've done a really good job, and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this movie review. So from a storyline perspective, they've actually got quite a few different storyline strands happening in this movie, but I feel like they do a really good job in terms of balancing all of them really well, whilst not making this movie feel overstuffed, and I feel like it's really well paced actually. Goes through all of the storyline materials really well, so let's go through them one by one. So first up we have the origin storyline of how the Nathan Drake character met his mentor Victor Sullivan, and this storyline narrative and strand is actually very different to what you saw in the third game when they explained it via flashbacks. We've also got the history of the Nathan Drake character and his brother Sam, and again this is very different to the narrative that you saw in the fourth game. And then we have the main storyline happening in this movie, which is all of the different characters trying to find the ancient treasure of Magellan, and you get to see all of the chaos that is ensuing when loads of different characters are all after this, and you really get to see how humans are going to be so self-interest based. And on that point, I absolutely love the lens that this movie puts on humans in terms of how certain characters are willing to betray one another just to try to get all of the loot for themselves, which I think is really fascinating. Now from a positive point of view, this movie instantly grabs your attention with such a powerful opening sequence, and it really just doesn't stop from there. So action-packed, this movie just has one massive sequence after another, while still having really wicked storyline strands across here, loads of twists and turns taking place. You don't know which character you can trust. All of the adventure aspects are really great, putting all of the clues together, a bit of puzzle solving happening as well, and most importantly, all of the chemistry between all of the different characters. A lot of history with a lot of these characters, mainly with the Victor Sullivan character, and I think they've done a really good job in terms of porting what is mainly known as a bit of a video game into the movie space. As like I said, they are telling a bit of an origin storyline, but it does feel like you're in a bit of a video game in certain places, as some of the sequences are absolutely wicked and have actually been lifted and shifted but inspired in a bit of a different way from the video game series, which is really cool. However, from a negatives point of view, I guess this movie could have done a little bit deeper puzzle solving. You do definitely have this aspect in this movie, but like I said, they could have made it a lot more Da Vinci Code inspired. And I also feel like they could have upped the epicness of the quest that they are actually on, as finding this golden treasure stuff is really big in all of the video games, and I guess they could have heightened it a little bit more. But you know, that being said, like I said, it is such a super fun movie, and it does really respect the source material really well. And so from a storyline point of view, I feel like Uncharted is absolutely brilliant. So from a cast and characters point of view, Uncharted is absolutely perfect. They've done such a good job with all of the casting and the character decisions that they made in this movie. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Tom Holland, who brilliantly plays the Nathan Drake character. I was a little bit apprehensive of this casting when it was first announced, as I thought, oh god, is it basically just going to be Peter Parker in Nathan Drake's clothing? But actually, Tom Holland does such a good job in terms of proving everyone wrong, and really does embrace the Nathan Drake character, as he's really quick-witted, really street smart, and just captures all of the cool elements of the Nathan Drake character, whilst also adding a lot of depth, emotion and purpose. So like I said, he does such a good job, and by the end of this movie, actually towards the end of this movie, you really can see him becoming Nathan Drake. So from an origin point of view, I feel like they did such a good job with the Nathan Drake character, brilliantly portrayed by Tom Holland. Next up we have Mark Wahlberg, who is playing Sully/Victor Sullivan in this movie, and is really interesting, as a couple of years ago, all the way back in 2010, Mark Wahlberg was originally going to be playing Nathan Drake, but obviously they've now done a bit of an origin storyline, and it's really nice that actually Mark Wahlberg has returned to the franchise, except this time playing the mentor role of Sully, and he does such a good job. Equally, as this character, you get to see the origin of the mentor relationship between Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan as well, but obviously this character has got his own agendas as well, and it's really, really great to see how that is fleshed out. I absolutely love all of the banter between these two characters, absolutely brilliantly captured and portrayed, and you don't know whether or not you can actually trust this character, and on that point you're really with Tom Holland's Nathan Drake character, as you really don't know as an audience member if the Nathan Drake character should even trust what Victor Sullivan is saying. But also Victor Sullivan does have a lot of wisdom and expertise within the treasure hunting game. Next up we have Antonio Banderas, who was absolutely incredible in terms of instantly being a bit of an excellent ruthless villain character, and instantly also sets a bit of a rivalry between his character against Nathan Drake and Sully, and I absolutely think this villain is so good. In the movie genre, sometimes they get villains absolutely right and sometimes it's the absolute opposite, as they are just being bad for the sake of being bad. But I just feel like this character really does put a chill down your spine, and he does some absolutely chaotic and crazy things in this movie. Next up we have Tati Gabrielle, who is from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. She is playing a character called Braddock, who already has a bit of a history in terms of having a rivalry with the Sully character, and I absolutely loved it actually, as you're really introduced into this world and you're coming into it through the eyes and ears of the Nathan Drake character, so you're really experiencing this brand new world that has a lot of seasoned history with all of the different characters. We've also got Sophia Ali playing a character called Chloe, who is obviously from the video game series, and she is a bit of a partner to Nathan Drake and to Sully as well, and you don't know also whether you can trust this character as well. She obviously shares a bit of a love interest relationship with the Nathan Drake character. And we've also got Rudy Pankow, who is playing the older brother Sam to Nathan Drake, and actually this character was a lot more prevalent towards the end of the video game series, and it's actually really nice to see him opening the movie, and I'm hoping in future installments we get to see a little bit more happening with this character. And we've also got some wicked cameos taking place in this movie, which is absolutely awesome, and so from a casting character's point of view, I feel like this movie is also absolutely extraordinary. So from a visuals point of view, honestly, this movie is absolutely incredible. There are some massive action sequences taking place in this movie. Literally every 20 minutes there's another massive action sequence, whether it's a chase sequence or this big elaborate sequence taking place. All of it just looks absolutely extraordinary. I feel like Sony are really good in terms of putting all of these massive sequences together. Obviously they've got a lot of experience with all of the Spider-Man movies and obviously all of the Jumanji movies as well, and I feel like they've combined all of that and they just look so good in this film. Got a massive global aspect to it as well, so you get to go to loads of different locations, and all of the craziness that happens both indoors and outdoors is just so good. And I absolutely love all of the quest aspects of this movie in terms of putting all of the clues together to try to find this hidden golden treasure. Obviously that trope has been used quite a lot in other movies, but I feel like Uncharted finds a new fresh way of exploring all of it, and I feel like they build their world really well, and like I said, from an escapist point of view, it just looks absolutely wicked. So from a comparisons point of view, obviously the first thing to compare it to is the incredibly popular video game series of the same name, and like I said, this does do its own thing in terms of being the origin storyline of that video game series, and so I feel like it's really good. I feel like you can also at the same time though compare it to other big movie franchises. For example, Pirates of the Caribbean, especially the final act of this movie, very Pirates inspired, which is really cool. I think you can also compare it to the Narnia franchise as well. Again, especially the final act of this movie I think is very comparative to the third Narnia movie, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and I feel like from a quest point of view, it's definitely comparable to the Tomb Raider franchise and to the Indiana Jones franchise. And like I mentioned in the previous section, I feel like you can also compare it to Jumanji as well, in terms of there being massive action sequences and blending humour into that as well. I feel like from a video game comparison point of view, I feel like this movie does a really good job actually in terms of being lifted and shifted from a video game series into the big live action box office space. So I feel like it's so much stronger than Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, Max Payne and Final Fantasy, and I feel like it's a little bit different but similar in terms of being a successful video game adaptation to Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog, and so from a comparisons point of view, I feel like Uncharted is in excellent company. So overall, I'm sure you can tell I absolutely loved Uncharted. I think it's such a fun movie and it's such a fun escapist film as well. and I feel like it's so much better than people are saying it is. And for me, I went into it with very high expectations, and actually I feel like it met and fulfilled it really, really well. I'll highly recommend watching this movie. And like I said, I feel like it's undeservedly getting a lot of hate at the moment, as it's so much better than people are saying it is. From an action point of view, it's really, really cool. The storyline is really, really easy to follow and it's really, really enjoyable as well. I feel like the casting and the characters are absolutely wicked, and mainly, most of all of the brilliant visual sequences in this movie are truly cinematic and really, really breathtaking as well. And as we all know, a lot of movies don't actually do a really, really good job in terms of telling a bit of an origin storyline narrative, whereas I feel like Uncharted does a really, really good job of it. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a massive 7.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear what you thought of Uncharted, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.